Hey everybody, welcome to Fab Fit Friday. You can see that I've changed the angle of my room again, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just start and say hi to Janie and Anne from New Zealand. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Um, I'm really excited about today because I have like 3 fun things to talk about. Hey Terry, welcome. I've been fussing around in my room like on and off every day. Hey Jason, welcome. Um, and I spun my table around and I've tried it all different ways. And at the end of the day, I had to put my table back this way. So you can see I've got the window there. And if I move this a little bit, you can see I've got my pegboard over there, which I love. And I've got everything is neat and tidy around me. I don't have piles places. Hey, Bettina and Andrea, welcome, welcome. And Terry says, hi from Thompson, Connecticut, but spending the winter in Florida, so much nicer here than in Connecticut. Oh, Terry, on Tuesday, I think I wish I had gone with you. And today, the wind is so loud that it's shaking the house. So we have like super windy day today. I haven't gone outside. I got up this morning. I didn't even go to the gym. I've been working in my studio all morning, getting stuff done. Oh, Andrea says, good morning. Can't wait until next weekend for your 2-day event in Walnut Creek. And 1 day with AG. All right. So next weekend, I'm flying away on Saturday to Walnut Creek, California to teach for the ASG chapter there. And I am so excited. I've already been there once. I love these ladies. We have an excellent program organized. We're going to be working on knit garments all weekend, which is super fun for me because it's low stress. There's not a lot of serious fitting. And the fitting that does need to happen is very easy for me to figure out. So I'm super excited about next weekend. I'll be in California and I'll share updates. Oh yeah, Andrea says ASG, not AG. I know. I do stuff like that too, Andrea. It's okay. I'm so excited to see you. Lorna says, hi from New Zealand. We have 2 ladies from New Zealand. Lorna, Anne is from New Zealand too. Maybe you guys live near each other. I don't know. Sally says, hello. Judy says, hello. Phyllis says, looks very clean and tidy. Thank you, Phyllis. And hey, Diane, welcome. Hey, Tana, welcome, welcome. Oh, this is so fun. So the first thing I want to talk about, I said I had 3 things I wanted to talk about. Hey, Mary. The first thing I want to talk about is the layout for my room. The second thing I'm going to show you is my pants fitting adventure. And then the third thing I'm going to talk about is my breaking news. And I'm going to tell you about my breaking news last because I don't have a lot to say about it today, but I do want to give you some hints for the big reveal next Friday during Fab Fit Friday. And it's kind of cool that the Walnut Creek ASG chapter scheduled their event to be on Sunday, Monday instead of Saturday, Sunday, so I don't have to cancel Fab Fit Friday next week. So I'm kind of excited about that as well. Victoria's heading out to Florida in 2 weeks and staying for a month. That's going to be lots of fun for you, Victoria. I know you're probably going to be with your grandkids. That's so cool. I had a super fun Valentine's Day. I hope everybody had a fun Valentine's Day. I actually I had to stop myself from putting things in the Valentine's Day basket for my granddaughter. I love getting her stuff. And actually my daughter has this small, I bought her this small stuffed animal because she loves sloths and she needed cheering up on a day. So my granddaughter wanted it, and I said, no, that's Anna's. So when I went to go get a Valentine's Day stuffed animal, they actually had some sloths there in the non-Valentine section, so I got that. And then I got her a bunch of other things too. We had a really fun time. And I didn't cook dinner. We had pizza, and we had a really nice little fun celebration here. So that was nice. I hope you guys had a fun time as well. So let's get to the first topic. You can see that my room, last week when I came on, I was over there in the corner, and I tried to make it work with my table going this way instead of this way. And it just, I didn't like it. And then also I tried to work in my room with the table going this way, and I didn't like it as much as I thought. So here is the plan. I'm going to take, and I'll show you, I'm going to just slide my computer around so you can see. There is where my messy shelf is right there. Now I've cleaned it. Everything on that shelf I need. However, if I'm going to use it for a background for my video and for teaching, I want it to look nice and neat. So I have other storage options for about, I would say, 70% of the stuff on that shelf is going to be gone. I'm going to make a nice clean background to have in the back. It's going to look nice, happy snappy. And then I'm going to put all the rest of the things away so that they're stored neatly where I can find them. I am absolutely loving that pegboard back there. So that will be mounted on the wall somewhere else once I move the shelf back. And then I'm going to, finish organizing things. But the big thing is the shelf is going back, but it's going to look nice and neat and bright and light. There isn't going to be any clutter. I may actually put the cabinet that the pegboard is on right now against the back wall over there where you don't see. But I'll see. It's going to be really nice. I can tell you that I have been able to find my pattern pieces now that I have them organized into those clear plastic bags that I'm going to make, that I made already, and I may hang them, or I may just keep leaving them laying flat, because now that they're separated into categories in those clear bags, it's amazing how fast I can find things. I found all sorts of things that I had lost forever when I organized, and now things are so much easier to find. I'm also really enjoying working in this area. Notice this area back here. It's very uncluttered. There's nothing back there really except my dress form and the shelves. So I think I'm going to keep this back area completely uncluttered. That way I can move around and I can work, and I've really been getting a lot of things done because it's so much nicer to work in here. So then my hard fast rule is going to be store nothing on my cutting table. My work surface is going to be my work surface. I may leave, let me just turn this way a little bit. I may leave things like, my Scotch tape and those containers. Like these things I probably will leave on the table. Everything else is going to go. And I really don't have a lot on here anymore anyway. But having this work surface so that it's uncluttered has been such a joy. I've been able to get so many more things done. So nothing on my work table. Find storage for like 70% of the stuff on that shelf. Put the shelf back. Hang the pegboard permanently. And then once I get those things done, I'm going to see what else I need to do. But the bottom line is I'm really hoping to whip it together for next week. So I'll have breaking news reveal and I'll have tour of the studio next week. That's my goal for next week. So I'm super excited about that. Hey Joy, welcome. And hey DIYer girl. Oh yeah, no clutter. That's going to be my new thing. The other thing is I have my trash and my recycle bins under the table so I can keep things neat and tidy as I work. And I'm putting things away as I finish using them. So I'm changing the way I work in addition to how I'm organized to work. So super excited. That's my update on the studio. There'll be more about that next week. The next thing I want to talk about is, hey Linda Lee, welcome. Yeah, clutter is bad. Down with clutter. Down with clutter. I'm going to take this attitude and I'm going to move it into another room in my house when I'm done with this. I'm going to try to create this in the kitchen and in the dining room and in the living room. And actually the living room is already pretty uncluttered because I've been working on that, but I have a lot of gadgets and small appliances in my kitchen. I need to get that under control. So I'm super excited. I do feel like this is a fresh new year, even though it's a little bit late to call it the new year, but I am feeling very happy and uncluttered, and I like to come in here now, and I like to work in here now, so that's the important thing. Okay, the next thing is I want to have a little pants fitting. I haven't talked about pants fitting in a long time. Now, you may know that I'm teaching a 3-day in-person pants fitting workshop. I have 7 people signed up. That is a wonderful number, but if anybody else would like to join me, there still is room. And of course, I did not put the link under this video like I should have, so I'll add it after, or you can go to jsterndesigns.com and find it, or you can get it in my link tree. But I went to New York on Monday because I wanted to find the perfect fabric for the fit muslins. And I think because I'm teaching at home and I don't have to spend a lot of time packing, I may even pre-wash the fabric. So some people are going to be working on the Stretch Jeans Made Easy pattern. I'm going to pre-wash denim for, there's one student doing jeans right now. I'm going to pre-wash fabric for her. And then let me just show you what I got. I got this at Metro Textiles. I love to do a, sort of a fabric haul. This is a little bit different. There's only 2 fabrics to show. I'm going to brighten up my thing a little bit so you can see the detail. So in these 2 bags, I have some really nice fabric. And what I have discovered when I teach pants fitting is that depending on your shape and depending on what happens to your measurements when you're standing and sitting, sometimes it's better and more reasonable to have a slight amount of stretch in your fabric. So you can see that this is a crepe fabric and it stretches just a slight amount. So I've got plenty of this for fit muslins for people who feel like they might want a little bit of stretch when they sit. But again, it's not going to be something that's going to be, like stretchy pants. It's just going to have a little bit of give for people who want extra comfort when they're sitting. And then I got this non-stretch, which is very nice. And I want you to see the detail of it. Let me get it out here. I got a lot of each, so I have plenty for everybody. Let me just make this a little brighter just for this fabric. I want to show you here. This fabric has actual, like a vertical lines, and you can see it's got no stretch, right? No stretch in either direction, but it's a nice testing fabric for a non-stretch pant fabric. And it's kind of funny because I went with my friend Shorin and her mother-in-law loved this fabric. So I told her if I had any left over, I would give her some so she could I'd give it to Shorin so she could make her mom some pants. So this is the fabric I got from Metro Textiles in New York on Monday for my 3-day pants fitting class. And like I said, I think I'm gonna pre-wash it if I have time. But if I don't have time, these fabrics will be okay because they're soft and drapey, but I definitely will pre-wash the denim. So that takes care of that portion. Now I want to talk about the pattern that's in front of us right here. And I'm going to zoom back out, make it a little darker. Okay. Let me just stop and say hi to RT Blades and LB from, Latina from India. Welcome, welcome. And DIY Girl wants to know how I pre-wash my muslin. Okay, so these fabrics that I'm calling muslins, I'm just going to wash and dry them like I would wash and dry my finished pants. So they're going to go in on probably a warm water wash and a nice, normal heat cycle. I'm not going to kill them with heat, but I always treat my fabric like I'm going to treat my finished garment, and I would do the same thing with the muslin fabric. Janie says, I'm working on my 3rd pair in the last 2 weeks of your ponte knit jeans. I love that pattern. That is a great pattern. I love my ponte knit jeans. I haven't done anything with that pattern in such a long time. I should get it out and make myself some. Oh, Andrea, I can't bring extra pants fabric with me to California because I'm teaching at California, and then I have like a week before before I do the pants fitting is in March. So I won't know if I have extra for California. I'm so sorry. But I do want you to know that I am bringing black and gray performance sports knit to you guys in California. I've ordered the black from California to ship to Sue's house, and I also shipped gray fabric from my house to her house. So you'll have two choices of yoga pants fabric to pick from if you'd like to use that. Oh, hi, Lynn. Oh, I'm so happy you caught me live today, too. It's okay that you're late. I was talking about the plan for my room, and now I'm talking about pants fitting. And what I want to show you here is I was teaching my how to adjust non-stretch patterns for stretch fabric for pattern review this week on Tuesday. And I was wearing my stretch jeans. And when I had them on, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to trace my stretch jeans pattern, put the yoke back on the back leg, and then adjust it for non-stretch fabrics to make pants? So that's what I tested. And I'm going to tell you, I got some mixed results. The one thing I will say is my crotch is so comfortable. So the shape of the crotch is amazing. I'm wearing them right now, so I'm going to show you in a minute the muslin that I have on. But I've learned some things from this. Now, this is the first time I've tried to work with my stretch jeans pattern and then adjust it for non-stretch fabric. So there are some things I'm going to have to work out, but I'm going to share some things with you, and maybe that'll give you food for thought if you're adjusting things or fitting pants. I have a cool way to use the hip curve ruler, not the hip curve, but my French curve. I found a really cool way to transfer like a hip curve side seam where you took it in instead of trying to draw it yourself. So I'm going to show you some things about that. Let's see. Oh, Lorna says, do you use original pattern pieces to cut out fabric or trace copies pinned to your fabric? I always do the latter. Now I can make changes to the original pattern sheet. Do you use original pattern pieces to cut out your fabric? All right, so what I do is I trace a copy of whatever pattern I'm going to work with. So this was a traced copy of my stretch jeans. Then I made some adjustments to it, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Then I lay it on my fabric and I add the extra seam allowances directly to the fabric. I didn't add them onto this paper pattern. Sometimes I will add them onto the paper pattern so I don't forget. But this time I added, but I measured and marked the fabric, and then I cut along my lines. So that's how I cut out my fabric for these. Oh, Andrea's like, we tried. Oh, Andrea said, well, I tried. Good for the other fabric. I want the gray this time. Well, you'll have it because I sent it off. So yay. All right, so let me show you how the muslin or this pants pattern looks on me. Just move my chair out of the way. So you can see, okay, there's the front, and you can see I've got the extra seam allowances on there, and then here is the back, okay, and you can see it's okay, but it needs some work in here, and it's a little bit fuller than I expected because I thought, oh, I'm going from stretch to no stretch. But here's what I did not consider. And I'm sorry that I can't whip on my stretch denim jeans so you can see how they fit me. I think they're actually in the wash. What am I going to say? But I didn't consider the fact that when my jeans are on, right past my upper, like right after my crotch level, the leg falls straight and it's really not pressing on me. So I added all of this volume to the pattern to adjust for stretch, the non-stretch, and I didn't need it. So I'm going to plan on taking all of this stuff back in and I'm going to fix it some more because I'm sitting in these pants. Let me see if I can show you. So see, when I sit in them, they don't, see how they don't fall down. The waistband's not on yet, so it is low, but they don't fall, they don't shift. They're very, very comfortable. You know, and there is a little extra here. I'm going to deal with that, but they're really, really comfortable. So I will be developing this farther. I'm going to play with it some more. Oh, Barbara says, another sewing expert on YouTube says don't even try using knit patterns for woven clothes. So going from knits to woven. Knits to woven. Well, I don't know if, I mean, okay, so this right here, this is a woven shirt right here. I mean, I'm sorry, this is a knit shirt. And this is the matching woven shirt. And I'm just going to put it on to show you since we're on this topic. Let me just take off I have a tank top on. I'm not going to scare anybody. All right, let me just take this off for a second and put this on. Okay. So, all right. So this is these shirts, this pattern right here, I adjusted to make this knit top. And I'm pretty darn sure I could go in the reverse direction. So I think once you learn how to do it, you can do it. The mistake I made with the pants was the mistake I made with the jeans to pants is that I wasn't really stretching my jean fabric and I added too much. The other thing that really matters when you're adjusting from woven to stretch is you really have to know how stretchy your fabric is. And that can be hard to figure out. So I spend a lot of time in class talking about how to gauge how much your fabric is going to stretch, how it's going to feel, how it's going to fit you. And you need to know that before you can do this to this or that to that. So, you know, it's a fun thing to play with though. Anytime I can nerd around with, you know, with pattern pieces, I'm going to do it. All right, and then also I'm putting my shirt back on because it's cold in here today. Otherwise, I would have just left that on. I'm sorry. Like I'm getting dressed and undressed in front of you guys. Lorna says, thank you for explaining your, I'm guessing you mean tracing the patterns. Yep. Well, that's important. You always want to keep a master pattern. You don't want to ever cut your master pattern or change your master pattern, because then if you make a mistake or you want to go back, you don't have something to go back to. So let me stick my shirt back on. Okay. All right. Oh, Barbara says, I thought it would be doable. It is, but it's also, you have to learn how to do it. I mean, it's practice. And here's another thing about this the pants I'm wearing right now. I went from a jean pattern to a pant pattern. So it was even more advanced of a situation because I had to extend the crotch extensions to make it pants. So I did a bunch of things that in the end, I'm going to have to fuss with them a little bit. But again, I'm really kind of excited with the way they came out. And like I said, I'm sitting in them right now and they are very comfortable. DIYer girl wants to know, where do you put the zipper, or how will you sew it to put it on and stay up? So when I get the waistband on, I probably won't be able to pull that over my hips. I could just pull this on with these seams sewn up. I'll probably do a front fly for these pants if I ever finish them into actual pants. I am going to fuss around until I get the fit right. I definitely will do that, and then I probably will make a pair of pants for them because, again, they're comfortable. Victoria says, I'm working on my bootstrap pants form while I'm down in Florida. Would appreciate prayers because I can really be great big sewing dummy. I got 3 big sheets to practice. Oh, can I tell you something? I used a bootstrap pattern when I shot the threads pants fitting class that I did in the summer. And when I saw that they came out with the full body dress form, I'm so tempted to try it. So stay tuned, Victoria, because, you know, maybe in a month when I don't have another big project to work on, I'll order that and I'll work on it during Fab Fit Fridays, because I'm very intrigued by that. I think that is so cool. And I think Bootstrap Fashion Patterns are an amazing company. So I'm rooting for you, and I'm crossing my fingers for you. And if you need help, just let me know. I'll help you. Lorna says, I mean, the other lady means using knit patterns without modifications. I like your adventurous way of sewing. Oh, yeah, you can't. I don't know if that's what she meant, but I will tell you, you really can't just sew up a knit pattern out of woven, or sew up a woven pattern out of knit and expect it to fit. And I know that that's true because I was doing something with my daughter Anna, and I was working on a non-stretch pants pattern for her, and then all I had left enough of yardage that I was willing to part with to make another muslin for her had some stretch to it, and it turned into a disaster. It was huge. I couldn't use it. So, all right. All right, you know what? I'm going to take a break, and I want to talk about my breaking news first in case people have to leave or whatever. I just want to get that out of the way, and then I'm just going to show you what I did with my pants pattern to finish up today, because this is important. The breaking news is really a thing for you guys. I've been getting a lot of complaints from people on my Facebook page and in my Facebook group that they don't see my posts until days after I post them because of the Facebook algorithm. So I just want you guys to know, this is the breaking news. Breaking news, boop, 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 boop. I'm coming up with a new place for us to get together and interact. So next week I will unveil it, and I'll explain everything that goes along with it next week. But I wanted to tell you guys I'm working on another way to interact with you, where you can interact with me. You can see things real time. You don't have to wonder if you're missing things because the algorithm isn't showing it to you. I'm like really, really excited about that. So that is the breaking news. All right, let me see. And I know it's not exciting breaking news because all I'm telling you is there's going to be a new way for us to get together, interact with each other, and it's going to be really cool because everything is going to be organized, kind of like my studio. You know how my Facebook page or my Facebook group, it's all one discussion and you have to weed through and find what you're looking for? Well, this new thing that I'm working on is going to be organized so you won't have to weed through things to find things. Everything's going to be labeled and organized into sections. It's going to be so cool. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now. And I'm really excited about it. DIYer girl says, oh, no more metaverse. Well, it may be in the metaverse. We'll see. All right. So let's see here. Oh, Barbara is confirming I was asking how to adapt a knit pattern for wovens. Okay. So I put a link to my how to adjust a non-stretch pattern for stretch fabric workbook in the description below. And I really think in most cases you can just do those instructions in reverse. So you find out how much stretch your fabric has, and then you find out what the change is going to be by doing the math. But instead of slashing and overlapping to get rid of fabric to account for the stretch, you're spreading to account for the fabric that doesn't stretch. And again, think about it this way. Anytime you do fitting, adjust a pattern, do a pattern hack, combine patterns, any of those things, you do a test garment. So I'm sitting in a test garment right now because I took a pattern, played around with it, and then I have to test it. So there is a link to the workbook below if you want to check that out. And yeah, you can do it in reverse. That's what I think would work. Barbara also says, I made a pattern from a knit shirt. I like the fit and I'm thinking of how to adapt it to wovens. Well, all the information for front and back shirt and sleeve are in that workbook, Barbara. All right, so, Oh, Victoria said they just came out with the full body form after I order the pants. Thank you for so much for offering to help. It's really appreciated. Oh, you're very welcome. This new breaking news area will be another good place to ask questions too, so keep that in mind. All right, so, oh, Lynn Shepard says, ooh, new place to interact. Woo! Exciting. It's going to be very exciting. I'm excited. Lorna says, I'm very grateful for your videos are live at 7 a.m. in the morning here in New Zealand so I can watch live. Many other people's fall in the middle of the night. I know, it's hard to pick a time that works for everybody. So, people who come in late or miss my live, they're always available after. They live on my channel. So, so yay. Oh, Diane is trying to guess. She's trying to guess. She hopes she's right. All right, well, we'll see. I have a new helper, like someone else in my life is helping me with this particular project. I've got my husband is now doing all my editing for my videos. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're much better quality. He does a lot more editing to my videos than I would do. So when I shoot Cool Tools Fit Tip Tuesday, I usually just cut out all the things that are bad, slam it together, and pray for the best and lift it off. He checks the audio. He makes sure my face is in the middle of the screen. He does all this fun stuff. So he's busy doing my videos. So I have somebody else helping me with my new breaking news. So there you go. All right. Now I'm going to switch back to the table here and I want to show you some things. So, oh, actually, you know what? Let me take my muslin off because I might want to refer to it. So I'm just going to find my other pants. Let me just make a quick presto changeo here back into my yoga pants. Hold on one second. All right, let's see. In Germany, it's 7:30 p.m. Woo! Okay, so I have a private Zoom pants fitting student from Germany, and I always have to meet with her like before, like around, I don't know, 11 or 12, so it's good for her time and it's good for my time. She's on the holiday right now, so when she gets back, we're going to work on the thing, she got her 2-leg muslin together, so when she gets back from holiday, we're going to work on that. Isn't that kind of cool? Like, I don't know. I feel like and don't get me wrong, I love every single person who follows along with me, but there's something about thinking that, oh my God, somewhere in New Zealand or somewhere halfway around the globe, someone knows about J Stern Designs. I almost find that unbelievable. I'll be completely honest with you. All right, so what I want to do here is, let me just zoom in a little bit so I can show you. So this, you can see by what this looks like, you'll be able to tell what was my first leg and what was my second leg. So if I lay this down like this, okay, this was my first leg I did, this side over here. And the first thing I noticed right out of the gate was that it was way too loose around the waist. Now I worked with a half muslin first, and then I added the second leg. So while I was in the half muslin, and I think I can show you here, hold on one second. I'll show you the picture of my half muslin so you can see what it looks like. Hold on. I should have put it up on the screen. I ran out of time. Hold on, let me just show you. Okay, so this is how the half muslin looked. Okay, so you can see it's pretty, it fit pretty nicely. There's no bad wrinkles. I was pretty happy with it. But you can see there, I did take in the waist up at the top. Okay, so that's the hat. I started with that half muslin. Then I had to take this in, okay, and oops, let me just fix my, okay, there we go. Maybe just a little bit bigger. Okay. Oh, Andrew says, and in Switzerland too. It's the same time in Switzerland as Germany. I mean, I don't know the world clock, so that's kind of cool. Mary says, when I make non-stretch jeans, I cheat and cut the outer seams a half to an inch wider and then put them together and adjust. That works for me. I always add extra allowances to my seam allowances so I can let them out if I need to. That's excellent, Mary. All right, what I want to show you here is, this is my crotch on the leg that I did first. This pink line was my stitching line. I had to let it out 5/8 of an inch, and I had also let out the front 5/8 of an inch, but I didn't need it in the front, so I took that back in. So that's why it's a little bit wonky in there. But I did let out this 5/8, and I took in the side seams from the hip, from the waist down to the hip. And I want to show you something. If you guys struggle with, like, let's say you made this change, and I'm just going to highlight it so you can really see. I'm going to use one of my Sharpie markers here just to give it a darker thing. So this is my final answer. So I'm just going to draw dark on it so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so that's my final answer for my side seam. Oh, let me just stop and say hi to Amy Appleseed, who made it live again. Woohoo! Welcome, welcome. I want to transfer this to my paper pattern, right? So here's what I realized. If I take my hip curve, now this is a clear one. It works the same way if you have a metal one. What I did was I slid it down onto my seam until I got the edges of the curve to match perfectly, and then I made note of where it was at the top. So it's at number 6 or 6 inches here, and it's 17 inches down here, right? Then I just went over to my paper pattern, and basically I lined it up on 6. Oh, first what I did was I marked how far in I had to go. So you can see right here, I cut it off already, but I kept it pinned in. Let me just make this a little darker. Okay. You can see here, see, this is the wedge that I cut off, right? So the first thing I did was I marked in the amount that I needed to take out. So I measured from the original seam to where I ended up was 1 1/8 inches. So I measured in 1 1/8 inches. So we'll pretend, I'll do it again. So let's pretend that's 1 1/8 inches, right? Then I basically laid my ruler so that the 6 was up here and the 17 was here like this, and then I just drew the line and cut it off. That made it so easy to transfer the shape, the new shape of my side seam. I also did that on my inseams. So using the numbers on the ruler to mark from where it is on the garment and then put it on your paper makes things so much easier. And you can slide it around until you find the right curve that matches. Lorna says, you have purple fabric marker and light fabric, your light colored fabric. What sort of pen do you use on dark colored fabric? Okay, so on dark colored fabric, I use usually Choco liners. Another thing that can work on dark fabric too, I don't know if I have one handy because I share my, oh yeah, I share my my markers with my daughter, but I happen to have it here. So like if I just get some dark fabric, let me see. Let me just see if I can find the end of this. All right, so if I put this back here, oops, this is the fabric for the pants fitting again, but if I take this fabric and mark this, a fresh silver Sharpie will show. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but silver will show on black. I don't think you can see. Let me just see that mark. So silver works nice on black if you're going to use a Sharpie marker. Or I'll use my, white Choco liner to do it. Either way. But silver does work on dark fabric. And I like using Sharpie markers when I know I'm going to be working on things over a long period because it doesn't fluff off like chalk can fluff off. All right, so that would be the tip for the how to use the ruler in an efficient way. So you can see here in my workbook, I show how to adjust pants pattern that is non-stretch for stretch. And you can see here, this is my vertical line right here, and it goes to the knee. And if I were working on a pattern that I wanted to make smaller for knit fabric, I would have overlapped it this amount. So I tried spreading it, and then at the top, I just make this piece match here, and I pivot it up here to get it to match, and it made this little extra length there, and I thought that would be a good thing because, non-stretch, having that little quarter there, I didn't think would hurt anything. You can see I put the yoke back on, and the way I put the yoke back on is I cut it where the dart, I wanted the dart to be. I lined up the center back. I lined up the side seam, and then I put a few more slashes in there. I think you can see them. There's a slash right there, and there's a slash right there, and I pushed it flat, and it opened up to make a dart, and then I drew the dart past the yoke a little bit to finish the back waist dart. That's how I put the yoke back on. And I also cut my seam allowances off because remember, I have 3/4 inch seam allowances at the top of my leg and at the bottom of my yoke. So I got rid of my seam allowances, and then I just taped that on. To try to make this a pant pattern versus a jean pattern, I slashed and pushed out my crotch extension about 5/8 of an inch right here because the crotch extension was too short to be pants. And then of course I had to let it out another 5/8. That's this part right here. Okay, so, and now this does look like my pants pattern. So this shape is very similar to what my pants pattern looks like. So I thought that was kind of cool. Barbara says, I use a dried up sliver of soap to make good marks on dark fabric, but I will look for a silver marker. I use kids' washable markers for light fabrics. That's a really good idea, Barbara, to use a sliver of soap. I'm going to try that. I like that idea because then it will wash away in the wash if you have to get rid of it. I like it. And then just to keep a record of what you're doing, notice I taped the sliver of side seam, or, I taped whatever I cut off onto the pattern to keep a record of it. And then you can see also I did my diagonal slash to a vertical slash that goes down the entire leg to take in some of the ease on the leg. Hi, Amy. Oh, Amy, I already said hi to you, but you use soap slivers too. Yes, that is a great tip. That is a great tip. So from the first leg to the second leg, oh, that's okay. So that's the other thing. I don't know if you noticed, and maybe that's part of what's making this muslin wonky. This leg here is full size. This leg is the leg that I took out the extra ease. So basically what I did was if you're unfamiliar with this, I mean, I do have a tutorial. If you look up how to get rid of ease on the back leg, or it's also in my troubleshooting for pants fitting series, you basically draw yourself a diagonal line on your pattern down to where you want to start removing ease, and then you make a vertical line going all the way down, and then you make a control point here. And if you want to test this on your muslin, I didn't bother to do it, but if you want to test it, you can literally pleat out the fabric like that and down the leg like this, you know, pleat it out and sew it like that, to see if you like it. I didn't bother doing that. I knew I had too much, there was too much ease on this leg. So this leg is actually an inch wider than this leg. And that could also be accounting for the wonkiness of the way it fits. I didn't think of that while I was looking at it in the mirror. I did this really fast. I didn't spend a lot of time fussing with this pattern. I literally just sewed it together. But you can test taking your leg in, like I said, by sewing a pleat from the hem all the way up to wherever the diagonal line meets the vertical, like this, and then sew a pleat up here, and then you can get rid of that on your paper pattern like I did over here. So this line right here, I'll do it in pink now so you can see this line, oops, and then this is where, oops, this is where I did the control point here. It seems like that's still too bright, hold on. There we go. And then all the way down vertically like that. And then what you do is, when you cut this, you slide this triangle up so it overlaps this much. This is all overlapped here, all the way down. So that could be another reason why it's wonky. The fit is wonky because one leg is an inch wider than the other in the back. Okay, so this muslin this is a polyester twill. I found it on sale at a local fabric store, and I basically bought like 20 yards of it, so I'd always have a twill fabric to practice with. It's yucky fabric. It's not drapey. I probably would get a better draping leg if I was using something that wasn't quite as stiff. But it's good for, you know, it's good for practicing. Barbara says, the kid markers allow me to use different colors to tell one type of mark from another, or I can change, make changes and tell the old marks from the new marks. Yes, using different colors is another great idea. Barbara, you're getting gold stars all around here. That's another really, really good point. Use different colored markers when you're making adjustments. Then you can either color code them or keep track of, you know, you can say, oh, my first adjustments are always going to be blue. My second adjustments are always going to be red. My final adjustments are always going to be green, whatever. But that is a really good idea. All right, so that's what the back leg looks like. The front leg, now here's the thing, and this is what I realized when I was working on this front leg that I wasn't going to need all of this fabric, because look how long, after I let out my inseam, I'm just going to color it in so you can see the edge on the white table. Okay, look how long that crotch extension is in the front. I knew I was not going to need that, but because on my muslin, I just let it out both together for fitting the first one. I let it out on my single leg muslin. I just added it to both. I ended up taking this off. So, you know, before I forget, I can literally just go ahead and cut this right off because I added it and I don't need it. Okay, so see this, I did not need it, and just to show you, in my real deal pants fitting situation, I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to say, you know, I'm not going to shellac it with tape, like I tape it like I mean it in most cases. I'm just going to tape the top and the bottom down here, and basically I can put right here, I'll put extra crotch extension, did not need. See, and that way I have a record of that on my pattern, and I'll know that I did that. Oh, Barbara says, in over-the-counter pants, I always have tightness in the thighs. Sometimes they're too tight to bend my knees. You mostly wear skirts. All right, let me ask you a question, Barbara. Sometimes tightness in your knees and your upper thighs could be because the front crotch is hanging down too low. If you pull up the front crotch, it may relax that a little bit for you. I mean, I don't know if that's your situation, but you want to think of the crotch. If I put them together like this, okay, this right here, this base of this curve, that is a hinge. And if it's hanging too far from your body and you're wearing more fitted pants, it's going to feel tight when you walk and bend because the curve is too far from you. Now, if you're making trousers and they're loose leg and the fabric's not touching you, it can hang down. But on pants or jeans that are snug, this really needs to be up closer, especially in the front. Oh, Barbara, Lorna's thanking you for great tips using markers. We still have some of those from when the kids were young. I have washable markers from my granddaughter. She has a whole box of art supplies now, and it's getting bigger by the moment. So I could go raid her craft box as well. It's almost a craft trunk at this point. But basically, you can see I let these things out, and I didn't consider the fact that I wasn't really stretching the fabric. And here's where the biggest tragedy was. Once you get past upper thigh, like about the knee, the stretch jeans, the leg fit my leg, but it wasn't a skinny jean. So it wasn't sucked onto my leg, and it wasn't stretching the fabric. So that's why these legs look really big, because I added to them and I really didn't need. I added 3/4 of an inch here and like an inch over here. So I added 1 3/4 inches to the width of this pattern for a 10% change that I thought I needed, and I did not. I did not need it. So I'm going to have to go back and whittle this back down. I'll play with it when I have time. But I just thought it was a really fun experiment. I bought some of those for my granddaughter. I think I might steal them. I know. Well, before I got the kid markers, I was letting her use my markers, but then she would get it all over her, and it was a hard time for me to wash it off before I sent her back home. You know, I wanted her to be able to come over to my house, so I figured I couldn't send her back, you know, with permanent marker all over herself. So we had to get the kid markers. And then I just want to show you one other thing about this. When you're working on a pants pattern, this is a general pants pattern thing. When you're ready to try it in muslin, the other thing you can do to check is if you lay your pattern so that the front leg is centered in the back, on the back leg like this, and the hems are lined up like this, and then you're looking up at the top of the pattern, you want to be able to see that the crotch points are at the same level. So you can see, I'm just going to get my little ruler here to show you. So you can see like my crotch points are on the same level there. They're both right there. And you want to make sure that over here, the tip of the side seam, the waist at the side seam are at the same level as well. Okay, that's a good indication things are going well. And then the other thing you want to look for is, especially if you're fussing around with changing shapes, slide the front so that the edges are even, and then as you come up, you want to see that I'm just going to highlight the edge of the front so you can see it. This is the edge of my front. All right, now notice how this is my back right here. I'm just going to carefully color it very close to the edge. See how those are going in the same direction? This is not going to fight each other when you sew it on. If my front, sometimes the front has a shallow curve here, but then to fit the leg in the back, you may do something like this where you really take it in. you know, and if you've got like a significantly more curve, you know, in the back, sometimes it doesn't love it. So you want to balance the curve from crotch to knee and just make sure they have a similar shape. They'll sew together better. So that's another pants fitting tip for, and that would work for, you know, any pants you're working on. That's another thing to look for. You want to look for the same thing at the side seam. So notice my side seams are very, very similar in shape. So one is here, one is there. They're going in the same direction. They don't need to be, you know, the exact same shape, but they just need to go in the same direction. So they won't fight when they're sewn together. Oh, Lorna says, all your tips about fitting are great too. Thank you. I've learned heaps from you. Oh, you are entirely welcome. I'm so happy too, though, that you know, like, I love that I put stuff out there and people are benefiting from it. That makes me so happy. Kim says, hi, where did you fold up the pants leg? Okay, so I'll tell you where and why. So when I'm working with a single leg muslin, I want to use the hem as the horizontal balance line. And this goes back to top down, center out, when, you know, with Ruth and her threads article. That's where I got this from. I want to give her a shout out, just so, you know, that's where I got that idea from. But you want this to be your horizontal balance line, and you want it to be off your foot. Now, with all of my experience teaching pants fitting, I tell my students, make sure your leg is short enough that the hem will be hovering above your foot, and half the students have puddled fabric on their feet. So what I've come to do is, after I've completed the pattern and I've cut off all the extra, this is the hem line, I take the hem and I fold it up to the knee line. And if you do that accurately front and back, then you have two accurately shortened legs. So that's why I fold it here, so that I can look at my hem and make sure it's parallel to the floor. And I make sure the front and back are the same very easily, lengthwise. Barbara says, I have a problem with crotch too low, but that's separate problem even when the crotch is not too low. I have big thighs and the knee problem is separate from the thigh. I don't know why it happens. Oh, well, maybe if you try working on fitting a pattern for yourself, we can, you know, you can figure those things out. I have seen it done where people will actually, I'm just going to draw on the backside here. So this is what a traditional pants pattern looks like, right? Like this. Oops. Like this. I have seen people do this to the pattern, and I don't want to say it's wrong or it's right or it's anything, because I haven't played with it personally, but I can see where it would make sense and it would help people when they need room. I've seen people actually, like, let's say you have a prominent knee and calf. Let's pretend both of those things are prominent on your shape. Okay, I've actually seen people ever so slightly let the side seams out in those areas. And it creates a curve, like maybe something like that, but when it's on your body takes that up and you don't see it in the finished garment. So that is something that I've seen. I've seen it in leggings and I've seen it in pants drafts. So maybe consider just giving yourself a little extra where you need it on the sides. Now, obviously, you'd have to do that both front and back, but that could be an option for prominent knees, you know, prominent calves. If you have a prominent inner thigh, I would just extend this and give you the room here. That's how I, you know, would deal with that. I'd give extra room there for a prominent inner thigh, but if it's down lower, you can actually curve the side and inseams out a little bit and try that. So that's a tip for that. And Amy says, can you explain again about the top corner of the front pattern hitting the back? Yes. Okay, so when you put your pattern pieces together like this, what you're looking for is the fact that they are all the same length. So after you line up the hems down here, what you want to do is you just want to kind of look and see that the waist edges, see how they're the same level when they're lined up? Because if this was way down here, right, or if it was up here, then you might have a truing up issue, and then you would have to really walk the pattern and see where the problem is. But when you lay it, a nice balanced pattern, the tip or the corner of the side and waist intersection should be at the same level as the waist. Because if it's not, it's one of two things. Either your side seams are, one of them shaped differently to make it the same length. Like let's say you had a huge back hip curve, right? And you put them together and your side seam is way down here. What I would do is I would take some of the back hip curve and I'd put it onto the front to sort of equalize the shapes so they're the same level. Or it could be that one is longer than the other and you have to figure that out. Amy wants to know if she can check that instead of walking the pattern. If you didn't make any major changes to vertically, yes. If you made a lot of vertical changes, I would double check it. But the other thing is, it's very important when you're walking a pattern, you always start at the knee. Okay, so you'd put your patterns together and you'd line up the knee like this. And what you would do, and usually what I'll do is I'll either clip them or pin them together so it doesn't slide, right? So that's staying there. And then I will check to make sure that my side and inseams are equal all the way to the hem, right there. And then I will see if, it's matching all the way up to here, like that. Because when you do the inseam, let me switch it around here. I'm going to line up my things. Okay. Again, I want to make sure I'm 1-to-1 to the hem. Make sure those are lining up like that. Then over here, here's where you can have a little differences. If these are lined up, and my clip, let me just reclip, my clip came loose here, hold on. Okay, so here, when you actually walk it, and you get to the very, very top, you may notice that the front could be ever so slightly longer than the back. The reason why that is because especially in contoured patterns like jeans, I designed my back leg to be a little bit shorter on the inseam than the front. Then I stretch the back to match and it smooths the back leg. So that's why you never want to start at the bottom and go up or go from the top down. You want to make sure you start in the middle at the knee, walk the bottom, and then walk the top. I think... You know what? I think this is kind of funny. I'm having such a good time because I haven't worked on pants in so long. I think I was having pants withdrawal because that's my favorite thing. So thank you guys for asking me questions and entertaining all of this. So, all right. Oh, Barbara has so many other projects. She doesn't know when she's even going to get to pants. I totally get you, Barbara. Like I said, this is the first time I've been able to work on pants in literally months. So... and I'm having a ball. So I want to thank everybody for asking me pants questions. All right. So yay. So that's everything I wanted to cover. I just want to remind everybody, if you came late, the breaking news is that I'm working on another place for us to interact. I've gotten a lot of people I've gotten emails and I've gotten comments under Facebook posts that they haven't been able to see my post until 3 days later because of the algorithm. Like they're not showing my post to certain members. Like even in my private group, I assumed when I posted something in my private group, it was there and everybody could see it. But apparently Facebook has decided to do funny things like hide posts from certain members. I don't know. So I've come up with a place where that will not happen. And I'm going to be sharing all of that. I'm going to kick it off next week during Fab Fit Friday. So you'll know all the details next week. It's going to be super exciting. And I'm really, really hoping that I can get my room whipped up into perfection so I can give you a full tour. So that's my plan for this week coming up. And also planning the menu for lunches for my 3-day workshop and all sorts of fun. So it's going to be a fun week for me. And then I get to go to sunny California on Saturday next week to teach for the Walnut Creek ASG. So this is fun times for me. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to have a clean studio. I mean, it's going to be super exciting. Oh, hi NC17Z. Did I answer all the questions above? Yes, I did. I've been answering questions, and we've had a really fun live stream today, I think. So I want to thank everybody for coming. And oh, Victoria says this information was really going to help. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you for coming. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. President's Day on Monday, so maybe some of you will have a day off and then you can do more sewing. That would be kind of fun. Phew. I always answer my questions. My favorite part of live streaming is interacting. Like I feel like I'm sitting in my studio with all my friends. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. And if you're enjoying these live streams and you haven't yet, like and subscribe, because that really helps my channel, and I would appreciate it. So thank you so much. I'll see you next week with the grand announcement for my breaking news and hopefully my full studio tour. I have a cool tool for Monday, and I have an exciting Fit Tip Tuesday. I'm going to be doing the pink zone, and I'm launching the next PDF companion for efficient workflow for bodice fitting, and it's packed with information. I'm so excited to offer it for you guys. So thanks so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.